When you think puppet show, where does your mind go? Sesame Street, the Muppets, Randy Feltface, those guys who got a DMCA from Nintendo? Well, whatever it is, it likely doesn't involve an indestructible man battling invisible Martians while they commit terrorist attacks across the Earth. Captain Scarlet is a 1967 TV show.
Will you take a look at that? We're getting ready to attack. Let them have it.
Succeed. You and your people will pay for this act of aggression. This is the voice of the Mysterons. Our first act of retaliation will be to assassinate your world brethren.
Proceeding as planned to rendezvous with the world president and escort him to Spectrum Maximum Security Building.
You are to proceed with the President to London. The life of the world's President is in your hands. Anything could happen.
Captain Scarlet has taken the President at gunpoint.
Have the nearest Spectrum pursuit vehicle on the road immediately. Soon he will be climbing the car view. And when he gets to the top, that's the end of the line. The world president is safe. The man who hijacked him has been positively identified as Captain Scarlet. What is even more amazing, despite his fatal injuries, he is returning to life and is no longer under the control of the Mysterons. It would seem that this Captain Scarlet is now indestructible. He will become our greatest asset in the fight against the Mysterons.
The show was moderately popular, being rerun on UK TV every so often, and in the late 90s and early 2000s it had risen to popularity enough to spawn a CGI reboot and new lines of toys. But on top of that, in 2006, the PlayStation 2 received this. Simply titled Captain Scarlet, this game was what every 90s kid in Britain had dreamed of. Finally, you could fully immerse yourself in the action of the show. What? Well, maybe that's just one mission. They can't... Oh, come on, there was tons of interesting boots on the ground action in the show. The game can't all be cars. Just one mission. Even a cutscene. Oh, sweet Jesus. What even is there to say about this? Look at it. Look at the show. Do these things line up at all? If not for the big Spectrum logo in the corner, could you even tell this was Captain Scarlet? The only identifiable feature are the vehicles, which, to be fair, actually look good and are quite accurate to the show. Take your eyes off them though. I have never before seen such a bizarre set of graphics in a video game before. The textures are inconsistent, they don't look PS2 level, and instead it's sort of more like a blend between PS1 and N64. Hell, if you bump the poly count down, you could probably make this run on them. Look at that! It's supposed to be snow or slush, but it looks like the old Minecraft gravel texture. Now, I don't know if it's the literal texture itself or an issue with the lighting, but look at the mounds of snow on the hill, and the banding and the shadows, the blotchy dark patches. They look like they're off the DS. And although it does look okay, the SPV has zero depth. It's too smooth. I know the actual design was very smooth, but it looks like it's been injection moulded as one solid object. Back to the lighting, it tends to bug out and can get weirdly harsh. I mean, look at this little dead end on Mars. The levels are void of any life. The most you might see is another car or two. Nothing but these massive winding roads filled with the same repeating models, textures and areas. And sometimes the areas don't even match up with the vehicle you're driving. Like, look, you have these really realistic textures, save for the ones being Stretch Armstronged up the hills. Then this giant red blob that looks like it's been pulled straight out of Toy Story 2. The car seems to just say fuck you in terms of lighting, so it's always this glowing square of scarlet. Let me ask you, in your life, has something in a video game ever looked this confusing? So many elements of these levels have managed to achieve some new state where they can't even be identified as 2D or 3D. You might say, well, that's a win for the devs if they were able to save some time with some 2D trees or something. But look at these are 3D. How do you make it look that weird? The HUD is, well, it's fine. It communicates everything it needs to, but the way the radar works in tandem with the gameplay can become really disorienting. Maybe I'm going nuts, but I swear it doesn't move how radars normally move. Or maybe it's the lack of camera controls, or maybe it's the lack of what? No camera controls. Now, I don't know what the standard was in 2006 for racing game camera controls, but I feel like it probably wasn't this. And if it was, well fuck, 2006 was still the Stone Age apparently. So bear with me while I explain these controls. X is accelerate, okay. Left stick is steer, okay. L1 is handbrake, okay. Up on the stick is accelerate again. Square is brake. R2 is shoot, okay. R1 is reset. I feel like having that readily available a reset button isn't a good sign, but okay. And our final input is brake/reverse, down on the right stick. I think any muscle of a memory game can move the camera while in a vehicle will throw you off entirely. Trying to brake will throw you off entirely because there's 3 different inputs, and I think only the stick can actually reverse you, so you have to use the most inconvenient one. See, the worst part about reversing is that it flips the camera, which is, like I said, entirely disorienting, and it doesn't help in any facet of gameplay. Why would you need to see behind you? I could understand maybe if this was a racing game and you had to check that nothing was going to come flying into the back of you, but seriously? Oh, and the worst part, when you stop reversing, the camera doesn't reset. Instead, it resets when you start accelerating again. The game also has a reverse camera button. That's circle, by the way. I forgot to write it in the control button. It kind of makes more sense here anyway, since it further devalues this dumbass camera thing. And you know what? After all this rambling, I still haven't mentioned the fucking cars. The patrol car turns terribly and has this pitiful machine gun. The pursuit vehicle has missiles which are somehow worse, and it does not turn. Despite the horrific turning capabilities of these vehicles, the levels are still designed with as many tight turns as could possibly be fit in. Well, maybe the controls are ass and the graphics are bad, but hey, are there any redeeming qualities about the gameplay? Would a game that eats your wife have redeeming qualities? As established earlier, this is a vehicle combat game, and there are 3 kinds of missions. One's where your goal is simply to reach the end, one's where your goal is to safely escort a target, and one's where you have to destroy a certain number of misdemeanor vehicles. Every single mission in this game sucks. I preface it by saying that, but would you believe me if I told you the escort missions suck the most? No fucking way! Yeah, so most of the time you'll be doing nothing but driving, with terrible controls and attempting to shoot things on occasion. One might assume that the shooting aspect actually makes the game more exciting, but I happen to find the missions where you had to just reach the end far more enjoyable, because they were over faster. The missions where you have to kill a certain number of enemies are a slog. Most of the time you find yourself resorting to camping and shooting at them from a distance because you're out of their range, since combat up close is a terrible idea. The enemy's AI seems to rapidly oscillate between shit to play and dumb as shit. I mean look, dumb as shit. Shit to play. There are 2, maybe 3 kinds of enemies, and they all function pretty similarly. They all have little turrets that fire bullets or rockets if they notice you. Killing these things is a joke. You can't damage them from bashing into them. It has to be from your weapons. And the weapons, well, don't get too close or they both miss. Don't get too far with the machine gun because it'll miss. To hit enemies, you have to find a sort of Goldilocks zone, just out of their range, but in the exact correct range for the weapon you have. There is simply no joy to Captain Scarlet on PS2. And to further prove my point, here's some randomly plucked annoyances from the gameplay. We've got weirdly expansive dead ends. The escort mission with the target immediately being attacked at the start. I'm 99% sure you can be shot through the floor. When you die or finish a level, Captain Scarlet asks you this. You can't change the controls from within a mission, only the main menu. Being in the same environment, playing a level in a familiar setting. The mission's taking place within previously used areas. The task given unto you, do you see my point? You end up in so many similar, if not identical places, it feels like you're caught in a time loop. Not just the areas though, it's the same missions too. This game is my Groundhog Day. You know, I think I'm forgetting something. The plot! 8 minutes in and no plot synopsis. Let me think back. Look, I'll be honest, there isn't one. The story of the game can be summarised in the phrase, "there is evil afoot." You get mission briefings from Colonel White, but there's no wider plot, just the Mysterons have caused a disturbance, go stop it. Then at the end of the game, it says, "Well done, you saved the day, but you need to be ready, because we will calling again soon." Wow, that's bad. I mean, a text error on the final screen? Was it 1989? Am I going to see congratulations in a second? Am I winner? It's minor, but it just shows how little effort was put into the presentation of this game. For example, as far as I'm aware, there isn't a single line of spoken English or any other language in this game. No video, not a clip from the show, only still images and text boxes. And worse than that, they're not even done well. The mission briefings are all horribly ugly. Your eyes will hurt staring at this game, and they'll hurt just as much as your ears will listening to. Even with the bad graphics, the boring levels and terrible controls, you could at least make the game bearable to listen to. But somehow they fucked that up too. There is no music in the game, just engine sounds and weapons. An hour and a half it took me to beat this game. An hour and a half, and all I heard the whole time was just... The game sent me loopy. Hell, I'm still recovering as I write this. There's only one instance of music in the game. The title screen plays a loop of the Captain Scarlet theme, which is pretty cool. It isn't the version with full lyrics, but hey, it's the sole positive aspect of this game. You know, the more I look at this game, the more it makes me think that it's some sort of repurposed racing game with a cheap license plastered over it in order to sell to a bunch of unsuspecting parents whose kids love Captain Scarlet. What's this footage of Golden Age of Racing doing here? So after a little digging, it seems Captain Scarlet on the PS2 was made by Brain in a Jar Studios, a developer I'd never heard of, and for good reason. They made shit games. Brain in a Jar is one of those companies that mass-produced shovelware during that time period of gaming where it was inescapable. By the looks of things, they specialised mostly in racing games, and thus, at least from what I can tell, Captain Scarlet is cobbled together from their previous game, Golden Age of Racing. Now I haven't played this game, so I can't exactly say how it feels to play, but it looks damn similar to Captain Scarlet. On top of that, the menus for both seem to be using the same format, and both games do that cinematic following the car cam at the end of a race or level. All they did was chuck in some weapons and a couple of vehicles, and that was considered enough, somehow. Looking at this list of their games though, it says they also made an Atom game. I love them. I hope it isn't. It's the same goddamn shit. Why? Two franchises ripe for video games, and this was who was contracted to make them? This world truly can be cruel. In conclusion, stay away. Even if you're curious, just don't. It isn't worth the 200 megabytes on your hard drive or the 21 cubic inches on your shelf. If you're one of the 5 remaining Captain Scarlet fans, still, avoid it. There's nothing here for you. The game is beyond awful. It has to rank as one of, if not the worst game I've ever played. I mean, what other game can make you a widower? Below is removed joke. Ha 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 ha. Good sound? Unless scream of stabbed cat is good? No.